What is up, y'all? I'm Demario. Welcome to Demario's World. Usually I'm doing tarot, so if you haven't checked that out, check out my tarot channel and the videos if it correlates with you. If it don't mind it at all. Right now I'm actually doing a new thing called Transit Talks, where I talk a little more about the astrological placements and transits going on right now as one of the videos I'm doing. About the current energy, what's coming in, you know what I'm saying, how to utilize the energy to get more of what you want for real, for real. So this is like, I guess, people for who may not know a lot about astrology or maybe into the transits I'm getting ready to talk about. So just as a first beginner thing, transits, when people talk about astrological transits and what, is coming in or leaving or what have you, transits are pretty much the interaction between two planets passing and us as observers watching it. You know what I'm saying? So again, we're the ones interpreting the planets and what's kind of happening, what we are sensing or what we may have proof is happening. Like we know the moon is in this uh, sign right now, or Saturn's getting ready to go into so and so. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what a transit is. It's pretty much just the interaction of the different planets formulating a conversation of sorts, or it could be called an aspect, depending on what you're using. So right now I'm talking about Juno entering. Sorry, I got my notes. Juno entering Taurus on March 11th, I believe. And I'm so sorry, I cannot. I just had it. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Yes, on March 11th, Juno is entering Taurus, and Juno is a asteroid that represents long-term marriage, compromise, and everything related to relationships. Um, so again, this is a really, really great time for relationships to kind of start sparking up. And even with Juno being in Taurus, is a really, really great placement because Taurus is about what we value. It's about being clear about what we hold, the resources we have to make things happen. Taurus deals in the luxury of things, basically the start of doing it big in whatever way that you see fit. And with Juno being in Taurus or entering Taurus for the next 2 months until May 2nd, it deals with relationships getting very clear about what are the guidelines guidelines of this relationship. Um, with Taurus, say for instance, right now Juno is right now in Aries, and so with Juno being in Aries, a lot of times I feel like, from my interpretation of it, I've noticed how as a society we have been very accustomed to quick relationships. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you have an interest, okay, I need to know, let's go towards marriage. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, hold up, with Juno and Aries being more impulsive in that type of situation, being more adventurous. Like, let's try something new. Let's get married in Vegas, and that's just what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Rather than looking at the details of the situation, not necessarily in a Virgo way, but just seeing at least the bare foundation of what do we have to be able to make something great. What are the long-term ramifications that we are looking at in a partnership? That's pretty much what Juno and Taurus deals with. For people who don't know the mythological story of Juno, Juno was with Jupiter in mythology, which that's a whole other situation. But I say that just to say that Juno was a great partner. She was deemed as a woman who started trouble, but at the same time, she was a very loyal partner, very down for the cause. Jupiter, which is actually ruled by Saturnian energy, or that ruled Saturnian energy, Jupiter was very much into cheating, very much into I kind of do what I want and she kind of stays at home, which again deals with kind of our current climate. So again, she as the woman, as the feminine in that space, she was in an unhappy situation. She was in an unhappy marriage with a man who was not loyal to her in the same way that she was loyal to him. So again, I feel like even in the Juno and Taurus is a very grounding energy. It's a very practical energy. It's an earth sign. I feel like we're getting ready to see more relationships that are unhappy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, like, and maybe even we thought that they were happy because they were out, Juno and Aries, doing stuff and making things pop. But in Juno and Taurus, it's like it's the earth sign of getting very practical and very clear about what do we have? Who are we? What's our thing here? You know what I'm saying? What's the baseline? If I remember Jada and Will Smith had on Red Table had a conversation where it said, if it was just me, you on an island, what do we have? And he was like, we have an island. And then she was like, that's not what I'm saying though. You know what I'm saying? Between us, what do we have? You know, so I feel like we're getting ready to see more for the next 2 months or so. You may start seeing people in relationships that look like they were happy, but not really on the basis. You may even see more of the contention of relationships. I'm not saying that people will necessarily break up, but you may start to see the illusion, even other people's own illusion of relationship that may have worked at one time that may not be working in the best way, and maybe they have the choice to revalue themselves, to deal in fairness, because even Juno deals with fairness, it deals with commitment, it's the give and take, it's the real practical reality, or at least it's, in Taurus at least, it's the practical reality of how we deal in relationships, you know, rather than just the impulsiveness of where we're coming from. Yeah, I feel like that's what we may notice more of, like how these relationships aren't necessarily practical, or people are in their own world while being in their own relationship, and it's not really up for us to judge. If anything, it's like what we do in transits. We just observe it. We observe how this relates to us and how this correlates with us, so that we can make different decisions. It's not necessarily a space of judgment, but it is a space of being honest with yourself. In Taurus, there may be some relationships that may be, with Juno and Taurus, there may be some relationships that get that start off from a financial standpoint, because Taurus is about that money, the pleasantries of life, you know. So it may be some relationships that have that kind of thing to them, and I mean that can be, you know, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? It's really just based off the person. It may, you may want to start new businesses with this person that's getting ready to come into your life, if you allow that energy to work with you, and have the openness and freedom of that. If you're ready for that, if you've done the work for that. It may come in on some financial situation that y'all are able to work through together. But again, with Taurus, it's still the very read between the lines guidelines of what this is. You know what I'm saying? Rather than just trying to kind of just go frivolously. You don't have to go frivolously. It's like, no, this is mine. And I'm not even saying, like, say, I keep thinking in the Virgo sense, because that's more Virgo-ish. But it's like, nah, this, I got 20,000. You have this. What do we do next? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of more of what I mean. It's like, it's more of a, I have this, you have this. How can we work together on this? You know what I'm saying? And still is a younger, Taurus is still kind of a younger energy to me. So again, it may not be super duper detailed, but it really is. I haven't met too many Tauruses who aren't honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it is like to a fault, I'm being real with you about what the state of our commitment, our corporation, our business is really about. So that's why I feel like Juno and Taurus is going to be encompassing for the next 2 months. And also another planet that's getting ready to go into its own exaltation is Venus entering Taurus. So I believed it was really cool to do a video on Juno and Venus, since they both kind of represent the same thing. Venus is about love. It's about our beauty, luxury, self-worth, what we look for in relationships to others, love styles all across the board. It can represent money as well, and for it being in Taurus, it loves being in Taurus. So again, I think that's another great thing with it being in exaltation. It gets the full fulfillment for being in that. So again, money, love, it also can go to a space of greed, you know what I'm saying, because Venus is such a benevolent planet. In its exaltation, it can overindulge. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get the full fulfillment of a planet, there's an opportunity that it could overindulge a bit. You know what I'm saying? So that's a pretty, you gotta watch the line of that. But yeah, I feel like with Venus and Taurus is really dealing with how we see ourselves in relationships. Like, even with Juno, is like, what's the relationship itself operating under? But with Venus being in entering Taurus, Venus is definitely a more personable planet than what Juno is. So with Venus, it's like, where do we stand in relationships? Like, the first question before you can even get into the door of commitment, where do I stand in this? And getting very clear about that. It's about treating yourself well. It's about the self-care that you adopt. Like, and it gives free reign for that, because it's in such a great sign of luxury, of self-care, of business and money, you know what I'm saying, and ideas, you know what I'm saying, like, and being able to profit off of those ideas, you know. So it's like it is a really great time within this two month span. I feel like leaves Venus leaves Taurus May 7th. So again, they're a few days apart. This is a very great time to hone in on some ideas that you may be wanting to implement, you know, because the energy is good. But at the same time, take care of yourself. You want to take care of yourself, take care of your energy. You know what I'm saying? Because again, with Juno and Venus kind of working in conjunct together, which means they're both in the same sign, we can get so induced in the partnership that we don't look at ourselves, or we get so induced in ourselves that we don't think about the partnership. Like, it really is a even kill to me, with Venus being the planet of love and Juno being about marriage. It's like we have a real opportunity here to connect in a linear way, but it could be A to D to L to Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be like 1, 2, 3, but it's like it's still an even kill to get to where you're trying to get to. Yeah, I feel like Venus and Juno and entering Taurus is going to be a great energy for all of us to be able to adopt that self-love and self-care. And even when you do have someone right there, still adopt that self-love and self-care so that you're able to take care of yourself, so you can even know how to take care of another person in this energy and in this time. I feel like it's a great vibe. It's a great energy. And I feel like this is a really great start. You know, since it's some really, really powerful insight on relationships. And again, twin flames, and they be coming together. Also, just be mindful. You know what I'm saying? Be mindful of kind of the looks of things, because even with Taurus, it's so bent on resources that, say for instance, someone can look like they have the resources, and you say, oh yeah, that's the one, but you weren't really clear because it's not Virgo. You weren't very clear about, okay, what is the situation here? You know what I'm saying? What is the mindset of this person? You know what I'm saying? Like, you may need to get more, adding a little more of that Virgo-esque to be able to get very clear, so that you're not making continuous mistakes, dealing with new people, or dealing with yourself even, and cycling through, because a lot of times we can cycle through within ourselves in our own mental struggles, that we miss out on opportunities to be with people and to have great relationships, and we want to just stick to our own way of being and being stubborn, because again, Taurus are stubborn signs anyway. Even with Juno wasn't willing to leave. You know, so she didn't leave the relationship, even though it really did bring her unhappiness and unfulfillment, even though she had all these gifts to give. So just remember not to be so stubborn in what you may think. Be open to hearing in partnership, and also hearing yourself. I feel like, again, Juno and Venus and Taurus, entering Taurus, is going to be a really great time for everyone. I hope you enjoyed this transit talk. I hope you enjoyed seeing my face, because I hardly ever show my face. But I enjoyed doing this, and I hope you enjoyed it too. I understood a little bit more about the astrological things, nature of things. So have a great day. I will. Be blessed. Peace.